Good morning, mob family. And make sure everything is done. Music is stopped. But looks like it's yeah. Okay, awesome. Hello everyone. Coffee. Good morning, my family. Let's see, get the comments up. Let's see. Good morning. And it's misspelled. And happy Friday. It's growing in, John. So let me say good morning to everyone first before we start talking. So good morning, Chris Mendoza. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. I'm glad you like the music. I'm trying out the different tracks that Will Musser has made. So I'm going to be adding a new one each mob. Good morning, Dan. It's very relaxing, yeah, to look at the pictures and listen to the music. I thought that was a nice change. Hello, Audrey. Welcome. Good morning. John, good morning. The music that you heard is music that has been commissioned by Will Musser, specifically for Monty and Strong. It's Monty and Strong music. I'll let the track run. It loops. Next, I'll put it on towards the close, and you can start hearing it. Good morning, David. I'm going to guess the hashtag villain arriving is Chrisman El Dragon. So good morning, Chris. I'm sorry, Craig Zimmick. What am I saying? I'm talking to Chris, and I'm thinking about Craig. Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Linda. Hello, Renee. Federica, good morning. Let's see who else is here. Good morning, Anthony, good morning. We need to title different. I have them under like, they have names. The tracks have like Peaches. There's a Peaches track. There's a Simon track. There's a Monty track. There's a Michigo track. And then there's like just M&S theme dark, M&S theme 2. So it's all different. Good morning, Heather. How are you? Welcome. All right, let me just put that to allow the names. Thank you, Chris, for the link. This is, if you haven't gone here, go here, please. And let StreamYard give them permission to show your name here, or else you're going to be the anonymous Facebook user. So, like the morning mob person. Laura, good morning. You can see it? Oh, great. So, good morning, Laura. How are you? StreamYard is safe, so just go and let them. Just give them permission to show your name. That's all that's happening here. So how's everyone doing this morning? It feels like just yesterday we did our last mob. I keep telling Dolly this, right? Like we always mention, right? That it's like every 2 weeks, but it feels like it goes by so quick, you know? Yes, if it was Bangers and Mash, it would be a theme on Monty and Strong, but funny somehow, or twisted in a comedic way, for sure. I don't think I could use Benny Hill's Yakety Sax song. That would be copywritten or something. But yeah, definitely that would be a different kind of theme, for sure. So how's everyone doing today? Apparently, here in the Northeast, we will be getting a snowstorm starting sometime, I think it's tonight or starting tomorrow. I have a bunch of driving to do, and there's a major storm headed our way for this weekend. So that's always fun. In regards to John's comment about the beard is looking great, so the itchiness is gone, that was like the worst part of like just being like on constantly like so that's gone, and it's growing in little by little. I gotta keep track of it. So whatever I lose up here, I'm trying to move it down to here so that it grows well here. But overall, it's coming in. This is close to January. It's about a month and 2 weeks. So a month and 2 weeks. This is what it is. So it's growing in there. It's give it some time to get it a little thicker. Just in time for snow. Look at that. I'm ready. I'm getting ready for the snowstorm. Chris says a snowstorm passed just north of us. We only got a dusting, but it was cold a few days ago here too. Like really, like for me to feel cold, it was cold. So you only got 4 to 6. I don't even want 4 to 6 inches, John. So if you got 4 to 6 inches, it's headed my way. So thanks for that, John. Really appreciate it. How many do we have here? We have 17 people here. Let's go over the announcement. So shout outs to everyone on YouTube. Thank you. Everyone that's on YouTube, that's watching us or will watch this later. You guys are awesome, and thank you for following us on YouTube. We have a good amount of people on YouTube, but we're always looking to get more people because it's a slow progression, and we're doing it organically, right? So it's awesome. You can find us at Bitten Peaches Publishing on YouTube. So support us there. Like, subscribe, and share, and you'll know whenever we come up and do our MoB Kaffeeklatches, you'll get an announcement that we've done our show, and then you can watch it at your leisure. So whenever you have time, you can watch it. So they're not long, about an hour, so go for it. We're on Instagram. I didn't put anything up on Instagram recently because I've been in the middle of writing, and Instagram was in front of mind. If you see me looking, I'm looking at my calendar. But I haven't put anything on Instagram recently, so I'm gonna see if I can be better about that and put some stuff up this week. Still crazy with the writing, and I'm approaching the end of one project, so it's going to be a little intense. But I will make a point to remember to put an Instagram post at least once a day, which would be good. YouTube, we have new YouTube subscribers. Hillside Triangler, that's a good name. Kimu 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Bod, Benny Helms, Allison, and Alan Chris Chrisman. Nice. Allison, Alan, Chris Chrisman. Okay. Craig Zimmy, just hashtag. Yeah, it was snowing last night and it's still going this morning. Where are you again, Heather? Because, yeah, I don't want to be there. Wow, Federica, -5 Celsius. What is that in real degrees? It's sad. So -5 Celsius is super Dolly sad face in real time. Huh? -26? 26 degrees Fahrenheit? That's still cold. That's way below freezing. Yeah, YouTube names are just out there. So, yeah, I'm sorry it's so cold where you are, Federica. I don't like the cold that much. I apologize for that. Yeah, no. Minnesota, yeah, that sounds cold. And then you're still snowing? Yeah, we'll pass. Kathy, hello. So I'm going to always say, Kathy, I'm your Huckleberry Ringo. We already established this, Kathy. So good morning, Kathy, and welcome. All right, so I was greeting everyone. So Instagram, where you can find us at Bitten Peaches on Instagram. So go there, and just you can find excerpts from the books. I'll be putting up some more. I have stopped doing a lot of the Twitter, I guess, posts because I used to have it automated, but I've kind of stepped away from Twitter a little bit for now. It's a matter of diverting focus, and I don't want to divert my focus in too many places. I used to have it automated, but now I'd have to do it by hand or like automate them all on one day of the week and then let them go. So right now, I haven't seen much of a difference because a lot of people have left Twitter. So we'll see. I still intend to do some tweets there eventually, but right now I'm not as present on Twitter. Zazzle, we have swag. Go get it. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm trying to look for a hat that I know we have on Zazzle. So on Zazzle, we're at M&S, EMANDES. Go there, find what you like, get some swag for yourself, get some swag for some friends. Just get some swag because it's the thing to do, especially if you like Mountain Strong. I just want to give we don't have any new patrons, but I want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons. So thank you. If you've been supporting us through Patreon, you are awesome. So please continue supporting us. And we have a new story coming out at the end of this month just for the patrons on Patreon. And it's titled The Circle, and I'm not going to say any more than that. But yeah, so if you want to get the short stories, I mean like short stories, but they're exclusive only to the patrons, you need to sign up to Patreon. That's all I can tell you about that. And you can ask anyone in the MoB if the stories are fun or if they're good, or if they're interesting. Everyone in the MoB will tell you that those stories are fantastic. Even I sit there and I read them and go, wow. I think I still have Peanut up somewhere on my screen. I don't have it here, but I have it on my writing screen. And I have Peanut up in the corner, and every so often I'll read Peanut because it's just such a good story. Okay, the newsletter will be out. Let's see, what's today, the 10th? Next week I should have a newsletter out, kind of like a state of the writing, what's happening, what's going on. And so subscribe to our newsletter. You just go to our website. What's the website, you say? It's www.orlandoasanchez.com. You go there, you put in your email where it requests an email address if you haven't already. You join the newsletter, and you'll get what's coming up, what's happening, what am I in the midst of, things like that. So go to the website, and the website is it's been new and redone, so it looks awesome. It was done by Carol. What's her name? Carol Begin. Carol Begin is the woman who did our website, redid our website, along with Dolly, who. Why not? This should be showing up here. Are you on StreamYard? That's why. So, Carol Begin, along with Dolly, they got the genius minds together and helped and created the website that you see now. If you go to orlandoasanchez.com. So it's a huge shout out to Dolly and a huge shout out to Carol. So you haven't been there, even if you're part of the newsletter, go visit the website, take a look at it. Give me your feedback on what it looks like to you. Yeah, we're gonna do author promos now because later on I'm gonna forget. So let me just get through these quick shout outs. BookBub, so go to BookBub, bookbub.com, and find Orlando A. Sanchez or Orlando Sanchez, and just please follow us there and leave your feedback. What you thought of the books, or what you thought of a book, a story, and it just creates social proof. Same thing for binge books. You get join, add your reviews, bingebooks.com. So and they're growing because they're really getting into the AI stuff. So they've been growing. And just go there, find Orlando A. Sanchez, that's me, and leave your review. And just, again, it creates social proof and it just keeps our presence in front of people. All right, let's do our author promos now, since we're doing kind of like this is our commercial area. This is our advertising time, our marketing moment. I like that, marketing moment. So marketing moment, hit me with the links. Thank you, Chris. So the first book we have by John P. Logsdon, Gravedigger #5. Here's the link. Please go there. John is an awesome writer. I've collaborated with him and done books with him. This book is recently just come out, and go grab this book. He's already on book 5, so the series is doing well. I think if he gets a good response and you really love his writing, and I know you do because he writes really well, I think he'll keep going with this series. I think that all depends on the readers. But he's been writing this story, and I hear good things about it. I already own it because I pre-ordered the books. Reading it is a whole different story because I'm in the middle of, a bunch of things. But I own all these books. So go get this book, Gravedigger 5. I don't know what the title is, but there's the link, and you can grab it and then get that one. All right, let's see the next one. Ben Zackheim. Our own Ben Zackheim has Unholy Deuce, Amelia, and Ichabod. It's from Duo, which is the Delta Underground Operatives. This is a shared world with many authors getting together and writing in the same world. I don't know I'm sure they're writing different characters within the same world, but I hear great things about this it's kind of an anthology type collaborative project. And so you've got great authors writing great stories. So this is the link, pick it up and grab the most recent one, which is Amelia and Ichabod, the Duo Operatives. So it's Duo, Delta Underground Operatives, which is awesome. Grave Crusade is John JL's most recent book. So go grab that. Excuse me. So Rick Gualtieri, who is from Build a Vampire, has Boer War on Vellum. I think it's Vellum, or Vela, because Vellum is the actual software, and Vellum is the software, and Vela is the program that Amazon has recently released, which is short for novella. And I believe these are like serial stories, short stories, or episodic stories on this new platform that allows readers to like turn in tokens, and then they can get kind of like these little episodes. It's like almost like television episodes in a way. All right. So go get that. It's Boer War on Vela, and this is the link. And that's an Amazon link, so you can grab it there because Vela is an Amazon program. And starting tomorrow, so if you need any of these links, Chris, can you put them up in the MoB after the show, because that way people can. No, but I'm saying like in the MoB after the show, so that way because I'm kind of going through them into it fast. So yeah, Kimbra is running a special free giveaway starting tomorrow. From the 11th to the 13th, Abomination, The Path to Redemption, Book 1. So it looks like a new series. Congrats, Kimbra. So go grab this. Let's support our indie authors. And that's what we do here. In the MoB, we help our authors. And we get their books, and we hope by us getting their books, they can keep doing what they're doing, which is writing fantastic, amazing stories. Let's see. I don't know who Facebook user is. Can he give an update on his new books getting on Audible? I don't know who that is, but if you, oh, Joe, who give an update? That's me. I don't know who he is. Sounds like you're talking in the second person, third person. All right. Another, is that Joe also? I love the Gravedigger series. Who's that? On the pages, Grave Crusade. Yeah, who's that? Oh, hi, Renee. Yeah, I hear great things about the Gravedigger series. So grab it. And yes, like you, Renee, my TBR is getting, it's a good thing that it's digital, because I don't know where I would put books at this point. All right, I'm going to hide this, and we shall continue with the show. Let's see, who else is here? On the duo books, I hear good things about the duo books as well. So that is awesome. Oh, Vela is one chapter a week. Yeah, so it's like an episode, like you're watching a show and you're getting an episode every week. So that's what Vela is. I don't know. I don't have the details of Vela because I haven't looked into it too much. So I don't know how it's doing. And I don't know how many. I know there are authors on the program, on the platform, but I don't know how it's doing as a platform. A lot of authors were pro for it. They liked the idea because it's a very short content. And a lot of authors are like, I have enough. I can't get into Vela right now because I have enough going on. So it depends. But you will see. The readers will dictate if Vela takes off, right? Oh, you mean the net? So the most recent, I guess, is asking about the most recent audiobook. The most recent audiobook that's coming out is Stormblood, which is done, produced, and we're just waiting for Audible at this point. Any day now, and we checked the date of the last audiobook prior to this one. Oh, awesome. No, but the last audiobook prior to this one was almost a year ago. So I apologize for that. We didn't realize it was that long ago. But because I've been writing the books so quickly, Stormblood is book 15, and we have Revenant, Blood Lessons, Broken Magic, and currently Lost Runes. So those books will get out throughout the year. We'll be pushing those Audible books out, those audiobooks, because it's important to get that too. Yeah, if you did it, it's still not. We're checking ACX and Audible, and it's still not out. It's completed. It's done. They say it's any day now. What do they say? It's in review, which is submitted. Yeah, so it's in review. So completely out of our hands right now, and we're just waiting for them, you know? So, right, Anthony, yes. Vela is like a modern-day version of serials from yesteryear. I compare it to like the old radio shows or the TV series where you would watch one episode this week and another episode next week and so forth and so on. Things like that. But I hear good things. I haven't jumped on the Vela platform because really it's just I have a lot going on. And for me to write stories for Vela would just, there aren't enough hours in a day for me to create that much bandwidth in my head for now Vela stories too. So we'll see. John says, since I can consume an entire M&S book in less than a day. Good, thanks, John, I appreciate it. Vela doesn't sound like it's for me, right? Because there are people who can read entire books in a few hours, and Vela's a chapter. So it would be like a few minutes and boom, you're done. I might do it if I knew the author was writing that chapter each week, like they were doing it while holding a 40-hour. Yeah, exactly. If the author has a day job, right? Another, like a job that requires a lot of hours, and they can put out a chapter a week while they're working their day job. That makes a lot of sense, which is probably where Vela is coming from. But most of the readers are what we call whale readers or really fast readers. Like the art readers are incredibly fast readers, and a chapter would be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So it would be good in the moment, but then it would be like, oh, that's not enough for me. So some readers, Vela's not enough. Oh, don't forget we have our wiki. Thank you, Paige. Jeanette and Paige are working on this. So this is our wiki. Go here. And what do you want them to do here, Paige? Can they help you, contribute, look at it, test it? I don't know what you want to do with the MoB and the wiki. If you want them to go and give you feedback on how it's looking, how it's working, what's missing, things like that. So this is our page, our wiki page, and Jeanette and Paige are working on it really, really well and it's coming along. So Yeah. All right. So, okay, what do we have? Streaming services have spoiled me. Wait for a week and next. No, yeah, I think we've all become what do we call it? Binge watchers, binge readers too. What series did I recently pick up that was like that? That has like a crazy amount of. Oh, the Raymond Feist books. When I picked up that series, I didn't realize that it has 36 books. I was like, yes, I could deal with that. I could read one book, at my, because they're fantasy books. I can take my time reading it, and it's amazing. So 36 books, I can get into 36 books. That's awesome. And that's how we are now. So my youngest Valkyrie, for some reason, is reading Requiem, right? But she's reading it out of order. She's hearing it on an audio with you? Yeah. So she's hearing Requiem on audiobook, right? Because she's not reading it, she's hearing it, I think, on the trips to and from school and things like that. And I said, okay, Requiem is book 13. What happened to book 1 through 12? She says, I'll get to it eventually, but Requiem is really good. I'm like, you gotta, in order to find out what's going on prior to, you've got to listen to or read the other books. Yeah, but I can't read Tomb Yards and Butterflies. She tells me you can't read it. It's not exciting enough for her. I'm like, really? Yeah, but she's very audio. She's auditory. That she works with her audio senses really well. So I think audiobooks are the way to go with her. All right, Paige. So here, I'll put up what Paige responded. She says, anyone can contribute. Check it out. I know you folks can add character descriptions, plot summaries, info, Cecil's cars. Go crazy. So add to the wiki, guys. Let's make this a group thing. If you remember something obscure that's in the books, then add it to the wiki. And I'm guessing Paige and Jeanette will kind of sort through it and see if it belongs in there, or if maybe it doesn't pertain to the wiki, or it can be added as an addendum or an appendix, things like that. So yeah, so go to the wiki, add stuff. If something comes up that you see that's not on the wiki, but you know for sure it's in the books, and add it there too. So awesome. Thank you so much, Paige. I really do appreciate you taking this on and adding to your, what is this? This is like a third wiki? You are insane, Paige. It's like, that's a lot of work. Okay, so Marie needs to speak to you, Dolly. So you guys can take that to the PM area later on. All right, so let's continue. So currently, all right, so you guys know that I was working on, and I'm still working on I was working on 3 projects at once, right? Thank you, Lisa. So yeah, if you found a lot of details, like if you reread the books, I'll get to what I was working on. If you reread all the books and you find a lot of details that you've forgotten, add them to the wiki, because it helps people who are reading the books. That's what the whole point of that fandom wiki is, that there's a lot of, like, it's almost like the behind the scenes of stuff in the stories, and there are a lot of behind the scenes things. Like even when I read books, as I'm writing the current book, sometimes I have to go back to make sure the continuity is correct in certain things. So I go back and I read, then I get lost in the story, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I gotta remember to add this later on. So there's a lot of stuff that's in the books that gets brought back to memory as soon as I read one of the older books. Okay, so I'm currently writing the 3 books. I'm writing Lost Runes, Nocturne Melody, and what we call Apricot, because the name is just A Rose in a Cauldron of Thorns. It's just too long. So we call it Apricot, which is not really apricot, it's Ariacot. But we became Apricot because Ariacot looks like apricot. Anyway, so what I've done now is I'm focusing now on Lost Runes, because that should be done, ready for the art by, I want to say, almost a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's almost ready for the art, right? Around the 20th, it'll be ready for the art. Then Nocturne Melody will be next month, because I don't want to put them so close to each other. So I'm going to give it some more time. And that'll be next month, March, April, right? That'll be in April. Then in May, wow, it's like one right after the other. So you see me looking up. So I have a calendar here and I have a schedule over here. So if you see me looking up, it's not that I'm looking up for inspiration. I'm looking to what I have written down for the editing schedule. So Lost Runes goes out this month. Nocturne Melody goes out next month, April, and Apricot will be in May. And then I start working on Entropy for September. Archmage, these are all Mountain Strong. Entropy for September, Archmage for November, and Corpse Road for January. So those are going to be the full novels that are coming. So it's minimum those books. There'll be other stories added in. I'll be finishing off a bunch of trilogies. So like the Pain Eaters from the Division 13, some of the Brew and Chew. I think I'll have 2 more short stories for Brew and Chew. Those have to get done. So there are a lot of short trilogies that are going to be finished within that time frame as those books are written. Writing 3 books at once, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it until you're really, really, really into your writing career as an author. I'm going back to writing 1 full novel and 1 novella because that's easier in terms of writing. And I think I'm going to add another. I think maybe for the corp, instead of Corp Sword, I'll add the next Night Warden book because I really like writing the Night Warden books. So getting into that too. Let's see. A wiki is a great resource to find these little things you want to refresh yourself on, but don't want to fish through all the books. That's perfect. That's what it's for. Take care, Craig El Dragon. Life calls. Go do what you got to do. Thank you so much for dropping in and visiting. But when life calls, you got to go. It's totally important, totally understood. So what have you guys been up to? If you have questions for Lost Runes, you can ask them. If they're not spoilerish, I will answer you. Also, the picture I put up, today's Friday, so the picture I put up for yesterday, Thursday, is Sebastian Treadwell. You can ask me questions, and he appears in Lost Runes, but I'll try not to be spoilerish. I'll try to answer questions without it being too spoilerish, because yeah, he's an important character. I can say this: yes, the Stray Dogs will be getting their own series. That's a definite. They will be getting their own series. When it's going to be written, I have no idea, but it's definitely happening this year. Because after I introduced them in Lost Runes, I want to have I already have the outline for their first story. So it'll be sometime between Apricot, which is in May, and I want to say middle of the summer, maybe I'll focus on that one. That one I'm going to write at a slow pace because I want to really get it in. It's the first story of a series. And yeah. Will there be any more Way of the Bug books? Who's that? Joe, how are you? I really like Bug. I really do. But I'm going to give Bug a little bit of a pause until I can get these books done. I want to get to Archmage, which is book 20 at 21 for Mountain Strong. Then I'm going to really focus on getting kind of like these other books out. But yes, there are going to be more Bug books because Bug is an awesome character. Bug and Jericho. It was supposed to be the Jericho Porter books, and Bug ended up taking over that series. So they're really the Way of Bug books. And maybe we'll even have a series called The Way of Bug. And Jericho Porter could be the supporting character. Bug is awesome, yeah. Can a rune be sung and have a vocal component? I don't know if a rune can be sung because runes are a combination of an image with the magic and a gesture. I guess you can add a component that's vocal as well, and making the vocal part the actual catalyst and trigger for the activation of the rune. So if you want to do that, go for it. I think that's a great idea, especially if you have like a siren type character or a character that relies on the vocal component of casting to show their magic. So they can gesture, they can trace a symbol, and then add a vocal component, which is a song or a tone, and that kind of activates the rune. So it could do that too. Yeah. Oh, who brought up the Dread Warlock series? Robert, how you doing, brother? Definitely. I was actually discussing the Dread Warlock series, I want to say last week with the Warrior. He was asking me about it because he's saying, you keep writing all these series and then you abandon them and you never go back. I was like, yes, I have to get back to the Dread Warlock series. The reason the Dread Warlock series stands out so much for me, it's because it's the only sci-fi series that I've done. In all the writing that I've done, it's the only sci-fi. So it has a special place in my heart. So definitely Dread Warlock has to get some more work done because I'm huge at sci-fi. I love sci-fi. Bye, Lisa. I'm sorry you have to get out. You have to leave, but thank you so much for popping in and saying hello. Okay, Anthony saying hypnotic voice, wiggly fingers. Spoilers are good. Yeah, spoilers are good. You know my policy on snippets, right? I like to leave snippets. In fact, I think I'm doing a snippet today at some point, maybe later for the weekend. Um, I like leaving snippets because I know you guys love the stories, and I love sharing the stories with you. And the snippets are, for me, I don't know about other authors. The snippets for me are awesome to kind of, it's kind of to let you know where the story's going and to kind of give you a preview, but without revealing everything. So it just keeps you engaged in the story. So that's why I like the snippets. And it goes back to like when I was really young and we'd read comic books, and sometimes the comics were so cool that they would finish the story and then they'd have a few panels of what was coming in the next issue. And you were like, oh, when you saw those things, because it didn't happen often, but when you saw those things, it was like, wow, it's fantastic. So that kind of preview. Or even like if you watch the TV shows when we were younger, you'd be able to see, and in the next episode, such and such and such and such would happen. And, and then you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to the next episode. So things like that. I used to do it in the books. I used to write the first chapter of the next book in the Mountain Strong. So if you go back to the early books, you'd see that. But Amazon got really kind of touchy about back matter. And so authors had to remove it because it looked like people were padding the books so that you'd get more reads, more page reads. And so Amazon started cracking down on back matter, which is why you don't see the first chapter of the next book in the books now. But I do make sure I write the author notes because I like to leave ideas for what the readers are going to expect and what's coming up and what I'm thinking about and things like that. The author notes have always kind of been there. Let's see. Paige says no worries about spoilers in the wiki for the most part, other than character descriptions and stuff. When I post plot summaries, put a stop warning. You have to click to get into the details of the plot. Nice. Thank you for coding that in, Paige. That's really important. Diane says snippets brighten the day. I think so. Anthony, I think that's the perfect description of snippets. Snippets are the gateway drugs to Mountain Strong. That's perfect. The only place I get snippets, to my knowledge at least, is the MoB, like in our group. I don't really post snippets anywhere else. Sometimes I'll post a little like synopsis or synopses in my newsletter just to kind of let the readers know this is what the book is about. But an actual snippet, I think it's only in the MoB. You guys are the privileged few that get to read the snippets before everyone else. So, I like doing that for you guys. You guys are awesome. So let's see. Let's go over the book and audio updates. Lost Runes will be, I want to say the 20th goes to the art. So today's the 10th, so about 10 more days it goes to the art. Where are we in chapters on Lost Runes? 17. So yeah, we're a little bit past the midpoint, but at this point it starts to take off. It's like a roller coaster. So we've crested the first big drop and we're just about to drop, and that's when the roller coaster takes off. That's what's happening with Lost Runes now. Nocturnality, the art will be next month, and I don't know the exact date yet, but I'm more than halfway done on Nocturnality. I think I'm at halfway, so it's about to do the same thing. Like, it's interesting because I've noticed the pattern with the books is that they all start off a little kind of slow, and Monty and Simon are kind of getting things together and they're figuring things out and they're recovering from the last adventure, and then all of a sudden it starts to ramp up, and then once it gets to that top point, it just goes. It's a steep decline and just drops, and it's breakneck all the way to the end. So that's where Nocturnality is. It's just about cresting at the top. Let's see. I can tell you that in Nocturnality, Corbell just made an appearance, he's a great character. So that's what's coming up. Stormblood, the audio is in a few days. Oh, I feel like you do. There's not much else. There's nothing else to say. There's a lot of stuff happening, but there's a lot of stuff we can't. Okay. There's stuff happening in the works that I can't talk about right now, but know that it's really good stuff. Okay. But we're in the process of talking and doing things, but I can't be spoilers about this because other people are involved, right? All right. Who's cheering Bug? John is cheering Bug. I really like Bug as a character. I think I like Bug more than Nixia. I think I like Bug. You like Nixia more? Really? I don't know. I think they're pretty close. Right? But although Tigers are close. Tigers are really good too. You're gonna meet Tiger in Lost Runes, and she's badass. There'll be 1 billion trillion kajillion internet points for the person who can figure out the names of the Treadwell 12. Can I put it that way? Yeah, the names. And also, yeah, but that puts a given away. Yeah, if you can figure that out. I'm not going to tell you the names. You're going to have to figure out from the story. That'll be fun. We haven't had a red shirt competition in a while. We need to have a red shirt competition. Okay. Let's do it for, I don't know. We need to have I'm going to have to sit down and think about it because we haven't had a red shirt. We haven't had a red shirt competition in a while. So yeah, we need to have one. Maybe we can do it for Nocturne Melody. We'll see. Yeah, Treadwell was a great name. There is this place, and I'm sure it's in the UK too, but there's a place in Manhattan called Treadwell Park. And I drive by it every day. And so, I guess subliminally, the name stuck in my head, Treadwell. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the UK and London as well, because it sounds so British, Treadwell. And so, when I was thinking of a name, yeah, well, I drive by that every day. I actually ate there a long time when I was like 15 with a friend. Yeah, I know, but I ate there a long time ago. A long time ago. It's a whole story. I actually ate at this restaurant, and I'm surprised it's still there. It wasn't Treadwell Park back then. It was something else. But it's the same place. In any case, when I was looking for a name, bye, is Joe leaving? Bye, Joe. Thank you so much for dropping in, and have a great weekend. When I was looking for a name for this character, it had to sound British, and it had to be kind of really distinct. And the name Treadwell came up right away because Treadwell's, I guess, you see it times and it stuck in my head. And I said, that's a good name to use. There's a little twist and a mystery behind that character that you'll find out later. The first name was interesting because, again, I needed something that sounded very British. Sebastian came across as Sebastian sounds British, doesn't it? Came across as pretty British. So if you see me doing this and I'm going like this and I'm talking, it's because I'm talking to Dolly. Dolly does not show up in the mob unless, I pull her. I go, come here. Here. Other than that, she doesn't show up. So it's not that I'm just talking to myself and making believe that Dolly's there. I'm talking to her and she likes to stay. She's very much a behind-the-scenes personality. She'll do all the amazing stuff behind the scenes, right? So Barrington, Pat Angleton Barrington. Is that the name of the character of Barrington Bear? Was it Barrington or Paddington? Paddington. Yeah, Paddington Bear, right? Okay, so that's a very British character. I mean, I'm only familiar with Paddington Bear because I went to London and saw him everywhere. So, but I know he had a TV show. I know he has a lot of books and there's a lot of merch for Paddington. So, in the movie, yeah, 2 movies, I think, 2 movies. So yeah, there you go. So the name came up, and I said this would be a great name for this because I already had the character, but I needed the name, and this is a great name for many reasons, but I'm not going to get into them right now. After the book drops, and we can discuss the character, and then we can discuss the spin-off series because there will be a spin-off series. We can get into the name. So who said they can finally make one of these? The Chris says, love the name, and under Chris's post, I can finally make one of these. Who was that? That I can finally make one of these. Is that Joe? Oh, okay. All right, Joe. Thank you so much. I know I already said bye to him, but he said I'm glad I can finally make it. So he just made a small cameo visit, and then he had to leave. Awesome. Yes, I see there's a Treadwell's book in London. Oh, you know what else Treadwell reminded me of? Torchwood, yeah. And I have such fond memories of watching Torchwood with Dolly. We really got into that series. It was right after our Doctor Who time, right? And we were looking for another show to watch that wasn't because Doctor Who. After the Doctor switch, after David Tennant, I think we stopped watching, right? So we stopped watching after David Tennant, but we still needed a Doctor Who fix. And we came upon because the character from Doctor Who was Jack. Yeah, Captain Jack had his own spinoff, Torchwood, and we loved Torchwood. So we watched Torchwood for a while. And I guess Treadwell, Torchwood, they're kind of in the same feel, right? But Torchwood was a great show. And Captain Jack, see, there's a character that could really kind of, you know, take a whole series on their shoulders, because Captain Jack made that show. He really, and the actor who portrayed Captain Jack made that show. But Torchwood was a fantastic premise, and it's a fantastic story. The face of Bo, that's right. He ends up being the face of Bo, like, I don't know how many thousand years in the future, the face of Bo. Yeah, he's a great character. He is. If you want to write a good character, you can, as an author, there are characters that you need to like kind of use as homework, like Doctor Who, Batman / Bruce Wayne for the dichotomy of darkness, right? Ooh, that's a great chapter right there. The dichotomy of darkness. Captain Jack's another great character that you can, because they're so deep and they're really well fleshed out characters. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. There's a lot of stuff as an author, as a writer that you can study, you can read to kind of see, oh, this is how you do a character, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, the romance got crazy. That's when the show, but we didn't watch, because we didn't watch a lot of the Torchwood at the end. Yeah, it went downhill. What happened? What happened to Torchwood? So yeah, it got a little crazy towards the end. We watched it because we had that sunk cost thing. We might as well finish the show. But towards the end, it got really crazy, you know? I don't know. Oh, is the new emo Batman the one with Robert Pattinson? Is that the new emo Batman? Is that what we're calling it now? Emo Batman? Emo Bat? So, actually, even though you guys know I'm a huge Batman fan, I kind of stayed away from that one. I haven't watched the movie. At some point, I'm going to have to sit down and watch it. But I can tell from the snippets, I know it's a darker Batman, but Batman's already a dark character, so I don't know how you make him darker, but I am going evil, you know? So, we'll see. I'll have to watch emo Batman, but I know a lot of people are not fans of the new emo Batman. Okay, so John says the most amazing part of Doctor Who is the invention of the actor change by the regeneration process. I totally agree. It has allowed writers to change their character with each iteration, which is a fantastic, I guess, device to use. The only other character that has done that successfully without the in-story change is Sherlock Holmes. Every character that I've seen, going back to Basil Hawthorne, all the way up to Benedict Cumberbatch, so far, pretty much every actor that has played Sherlock has put their own personal spin, obviously, on it, but has done it really well. There was that one show once that was kind of a modern Sherlock. I forgot what it was called, but it was like with Lisa Lewis Watson. She was the doctor. And the actor who played Sherlock was okay, but I wasn't really a big fan of that one. Yeah, James Bond is very similar. James Bond is another one that so many actors have played the same character, each with their own kind of personal charisma and spin, but the character has endured. Batman, same way. So some characters are just enduring. They're written so well, they're created so well. And what really makes a character stand the test of time is that some part of the character resonates with either readers or viewers. So Batman, you've got the darkness and that whole thing that drives him. Sherlock, I think everyone wishes they could be like Sherlock. Even when I was really young, I started being like really observant, watching people and making sure, oh, this person is doing this because of such and such and such. And I got this because I read the books. So I would start looking at the clues to kind of determine what the clues can tell me, but just by being more observant. Same thing with James Bond. I think every boy wanted to be James Bond growing up. Because it was just for the gadgets alone, you wanted to be James Bond. Forget everything else. You got a car that can shoot missiles? Are you kidding me right now? Or a watch that's an incredible magnet that can pull a boat? Yeah, everybody wanted to be sure. Elementary, that is it. Basil Rathbone, yes, thank you. I apologize, it was Basil Rathbone, yes. Hey, you're talking way back from me, Paige. Oh, wow, I didn't know Doctor Who was a children's show on the BBC. I really didn't know that. So Robert Pattinson's too broody. Oh, I'll have to see, because I'm not crazy about a broody Batman. That doesn't sound like a selling point for me. Hardy Boys, Sherlock Holmes, observe everything. And what I really liked about Sherlock is that he didn't have any special abilities except for the power of observation and making deductions where most people wouldn't see them. And that carried over into the formation of Batman, because Batman is influenced by Sherlock and Zorro and the Red Pimpernel, right? And so, but that thing that Batman has, where he has the power of observations, that is directly lifted from Sherlock, which is why Batman can be kind of like, I'm in the middle of everything with all these superpowered beings, and my superpower is I'm an awesome detective. So things like that. Yeah, the star from Sherlock before he was Doctor Strange is Benedict Cumberbatch. Yes, yeah, and he's a great. The great thing about that show that I enjoyed about Sherlock, and Dolly watched it too, right? You watched Sherlock? It was so awesome. When he started going on his observational moments, and they would superimpose these things on the screen, and basically you were viewing the world as the character was viewing the world. So these things would stand out, words would appear before you, like you were seeing the world through his brain, and that was such a great I guess, device in the show, because I had never seen that before. I mean, yes, he would make all these great deductions, and you guys felt like, yeah, okay, he's fantastic, but you weren't part of the process. But in that, with Benedict Cumberbatch, when he watched that, and you saw these things kind of float in the air, and the numbers would float, or the pages would stand out or be highlighted, or he'd look at a wall and the pattern would be, that was like, whoa. Whoever thought of that added a fantastic dimension to Sherlock. Yeah. Yeah, okay. The guy from Elementary was also in this movie with Angelina Jolie. They were hackers, and they were really young. This was a long, long, long time ago. But I still don't remember his name. And I guess that's a testament to how memorable he was to me. I don't know. He's a pretty good actor. He hasn't done anything recently, but I don't remember his name for the life of me right now. I can't remember his name. But he was a Sherlock Holmes, but that was a darker Sherlock Holmes in terms of like he had an addiction, and obviously the stories touched upon his addiction also, but this kind of brought it to the forefront. Johnny Lee Miller, thank you, Paige. Yes, but again, he couldn't have been that memorable if I didn't remember his name. So no, not Kiefer. It wasn't Kiefer. It was Johnny Lee. It was definitely Johnny Lee Miller. Stephen Moffat, yeah, who wrote Sherlock. He's so funny. You know Stephen Moffat, right? Stephen Moffat is very funny. He was writing Sherlock, and he also did Doctor Who. Yes, and he's a very, very talented writer. Yes, Johnny Lee Miller, Wendy. And welcome, Wendy. I didn't see you come in. No, Kiefer Sutherland, I wasn't on the 24 bandwagon like a lot of people were, but I heard it was a really, really good show. He's a great actor. I like Kiefer Sutherland. His dad, Donald, was also a fantastic actor, but he's like, I think maybe 2 generations before me. So I wouldn't have grown up watching Donald Sutherland in anything. I did watch him. I did see him in The Italian Job. Donald Sutherland was really good in The Italian Job. Kiefer Sutherland, my most, I guess, prominent memory of Kiefer Sutherland before 24 was Lost Boys. That's when I really saw him do anything. So yeah. Oh, you're sneaky and multitasking. Got it. Speaking of multitasking, we got to get to the questions, right? Hold on. I'm going to go to the questions. I know we have questions. And I didn't prep this before the show. Why didn't I prep this before the show? What was I doing before the show? Tell me, Dolly. Tell me. Oh, top secret. Oh, top secret. Let me see. So I'm going to where the questions are, guys. Bear with me. I need to get there. And my computer's taking this moment to be super slow. All right, let's see. But yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, has he done anything recently, Kiefer? Because I haven't really seen anything from Kiefer Sutherland lately. Okay, here we go. We're going to the episode, and drum roll, questions. Here we go. Questions. Here we go. All right. Questions, of course, from Audrey. Thank you, Audrey. So I want to give a big shout out to everyone who submits a question, because you guys are awesome and you add a dimension to the show that's fantastic. So Audrey's first question is, Orlando, as you get older, lies, I don't get older. What irritates you most that didn't irritate you previously? Oh, geez. So what's, Am I turning into a cantankerous, crotchety old man? Not really. What irritates me now pretty much has irritated me most of my life. I don't have that many things that irritate me. Dolly could tell you I'm pretty easygoing. Am I easygoing? I'm pretty easygoing. Yeah. She's not just saying that because she's my wife. She's saying that because I'm bigger than her and I can throw her out a window. So, but no, I don't have things that irritate me. I don't, not really. I guess as I get older, I did have one thing. It was one day, oh God, I'm sounding like the old man. That some guy was playing music outside our bedroom. We were like on the street outside in a car. And it was loud and it was annoying. And I was gonna go outside and tell him, turn it down, turn that music down. And if I had a lawn, I'd tell him to get off my lawn too. But yeah, that really irritated me. But I don't mind loud music. But in that moment, it irritated the heck out of me, man. Wow. Yeah. So there you go. The next question is for Dolly. Who is your biggest inspiration? And you can't say Orlando. Three people. Me, myself, and I.
I'm kidding. It's my dad.
There's no narcissism in there at all. Her biggest inspiration is her dad, who's really awesome. He's a really awesome person. So yeah, I can totally see that for sure. Then me, myself, and I. Okay. Thank you for that response. Orlando, what's the next book to be out and when? Lost Runes this month. And how do you choose which book to work on next? It's a very complicated scientific process with a lot of math and algorithms and graphs. And no, it's always Monty Strong and whatever book I want to write in addition to Monty Strong. I haven't used this in a while, so I have to go back to the analogy. Is it an analogy or a metaphor? I think it's a metaphor. So Monty Strong is the trunk, right? Of the tree that is the M&S World. They are the trunks and the roots. Everything else are branches. And so, you like that one? Yeah, we got motion that goes with the branches. So Martin Strong, those stories, the Martin Strong detective novel, are the trunk of the story, are the trunk of the tree. They always get written. Then, I try not to have too many dangling books or trilogies. So I don't want to do another sepia thing. So all the other branches, I start looking at them and see if there's that one book, if it's a 2 books, 3 books, so forth and so on. And whichever I want to write next, whichever one calls to me the most, I write that one in addition to Amonte and Strong. It was only this time because it's been so long between Night Warden books that I did Amonte and Strong and Night Warden. But usually it's one full novel, one novella. So that's kind of how I choose. Unless I get hit by a brand new book and then that's developing that story but not writing it. That's for later, like the Stray Dogs. Okay. Rebecca, thank you for those questions, Audrey. Rebecca asks, Peanut and the Morgan, do they get along? Yeah, they do. Peanut is going to be prominent. Did she show up? She showed up in one of the stories. Or did she show up in Broken Magic? I think she showed up in Broken Magic, Peanut. She had a little tiny cameo in Broken Magic, but she's gonna have more. She's gonna have more airtime, as they say, in the other stories. So she showed up in Broken Magic for a little while. I'm pretty sure it was Broken Magic, and yeah, she gets along with the Morgan. She's actually the Morgan's favorite. So,
for her first appearance,
yeah,
please join Patreon.
Yes, for her first appearance. If you never seen Peanut before Monty and Strong, her first appearance is in Patreon. So you have to be a patron to see. She has a whole story, Peanut, and it's awesome. It is awesome. Not because I wrote it, but because it is awesome. All right, Simon's family reunion. Not happening anytime soon. Did he even get an invite? Not happening anytime soon. So Simon's family doesn't get developed until much later. I'll tell you when. Oh, geez. The name of the book is called Deadeye. That's how far away. And that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books from now. Sorry. But that's when you start seeing more of Simon's family. Monty's family, it's a different story. It's not 10 books away. All right. Christian asks, what's your favorite holiday and why? I'm gonna have to say Christmas, I guess. Christmas is my favorite holiday because everyone's so much nicer. Just in general. Like, people say Merry Christmas or hey, how are you? I'm not talking about my family, just people in general out in the world. People are nicer around Christmas. I don't know why. You could be just as nice during July the 4th, or you could be just as nice during any other holiday. But during Christmas, in general, most people are nicer. So I like Christmas. Also, there's a lot of breaks, so all the kids are home and kind of the families together, and that's really nice. So yeah, I would have to say Christmas. This would be my favorite holiday, and that's why. All right, I'm going back into the studio. All right, back in the studio. Let's see. Oh, Donald's only a few years old, and Kiefer's my. Yeah, I would think I'm not. Well, I'm not Donald's age. I'm in between. I'm probably closer to Kiefer's age, but I'm in there. She's my wife. Yes, she's my wife. That's why I call her my wife, Marie. Yeah. Are we generationally related? On some level, we are all related. So yeah. Time for a Dexter series. Oh, David, there is a Dexter series coming. It's called Old Magic. I just haven't written it yet, but it's in there somewhere. Don't worry. It's actually a Dexter and Nana series. So it's kind of like the old mages, magic users, and being cranky and cantankerous and being old and awesome and being underestimated because they're old. So it's kind of like the senior series. Let's see. Anthony says M&S are the trunk of Yggdrasil, and with banners and mash are the cracked nuts hanging off a branch somewhere. That is actually a perfect description of bangers and mash. Yeah. Chris asked, do you have an opinion on established authors adding their name to a book in order to help a new unknown author, like what Michael Annelly is doing with his publishing company? My opinion, and this might be a little controversial, is that if the established author hasn't written the book, his name shouldn't be on the cover. With the caveat that if the established author helped develop the idea of the story and kind of helped with the outline, because James Patterson does that a lot. And so James Patterson knows that his name sells books. So he'll put James Patterson, it's like in huge font, covers the entire cover, and written by Orlando Sanchez in fine print on the bottom. So that's basically James Patterson lending his name for the new author to have a platform to launch, right? So I guess that works. It sells books. In terms of how ethical it is, I don't know. I would, if it's going to be that way, I would prefer that it be equal billing, like an equal size, if it's going to be that way. But most of the time, it's not. Like even Stephen King, it's Stephen King, like enormous, and written by somebody on the bottom. We don't know, but yeah, it's a Stephen King book, and so it smacks a little of false advertising because you just see the huge author name. And if you're not savvy enough, you're just going to pick up the book because it's a Stephen King book. And on the bottom of Stephen King in fine print, maybe with an asterisk leading you to the actual name, is the real author who wrote the book. So for me, sometimes it feels like a bait and switch, right? I'm baiting you in with James Patterson. And when you actually get to the book, you realize this wasn't written by James Patterson. Maybe it was consulted with him or outlined with him, but it wasn't written by him. And you can tell the difference in authors who write. You can tell if you read an author and you've read many of that author's books, you can tell if they wrote this book or someone else wrote this book, but it was this author's idea. So that question is an excellent question. And that's my position on it. If you're going to put your name on the cover, you make sure you write the book. That's simple, I think the only difference would be in collaborations. Sometimes Preston and Child have done this, where Preston, because they've written the entire series as Preston and Child, right? So they have ideas that they've already established, like Good Omens with Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Even though Terry Pratchett is no longer with us, right? So Terry's gone. He's going to do Good Omens too. But prior to Terry Pratchett, dying, Neil had already discussed what Good Omens 2, the book, would be with Terry. They just never wrote it. But if Neil said, okay, I'm going to write Good Omens 2, I think that would be fine because he already had conversations with Terry, and he wouldn't stray far from Terry's ideas. And you would be able to say, this is a Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett project because it would sound like it. It would be like it. So in a sense like that, if two authors have written a series together, like, so I was mentioning Preston and Child, which is they're very well-known duo that write books. They have a lot of books. Sometimes it's Preston, sometimes it's Child, and they already established that. But they write together as Preston and Child. Then it makes sense. It's not Preston is big and Child is small. It's equal, and that in that sense it makes sense, you know. Let's see. Yeah, so let's see. Dark Immortal annual barbecue and softball game in Central Park. Favorite holiday. Yeah, that's a good holiday. I don't know how many people survive that, Anthony. That's a great question. Thank you, Chris. That was a fantastic question. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. So, gotta run. Bye, Wendy. Hope I call her. Bye, Wendy. Have a great weekend. Let's see. People are nice on beaches, sharing drinks as well. You haven't been to New York beaches, so people are nice on New York beaches. There's more like, understand that the reason people aren't nice on New York beaches is because New York is a very populated city, and when people get to a beach in New York, they want to be left alone. They don't want to have social moments. They don't want to communicate with other people. They want to sit on their towel, under the umbrella, enjoy the sun, sit on their chairs, and be left alone. So I guess people are nice, but when you're at the beach, it's really a case of like, stay away. You know, I'm enjoying my day at the beach because most of the time I'm surrounded by people. So there you go. Yeah, I wanted to answer, Chris, because it's a great question. Anthony says a Dexter Nana series, grumpy, not grumpy old mages. The cover in Dexter Nana will have to be asbestos to keep bursting into flames. Yeah. It's going to be a novella, but I'll see. We can do like we do with all novellas. Once it gets to 3, we'll make it a print book. David says, I just turned 58. I know about being overestimated. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And thank you. Who said thank you for your unfailing and unending provisions of questions? Awesome. Thank you, Dolly. You guys are awesome. The questions are fantastic. Let's see. New comments. Bum, bum, bum. I agree. Unless the big name author is helping with the book, they know to using a co-author. Exactly. If you're not writing the book, why would you? I get it, because from the publishing standpoint, like the publisher wants to sell books. They're in the business of selling books. If you're James Patterson, your name sells books, right? Because we know he's one of the best-selling authors out there, along with Stephen King. If they're going to collaborate with another author and the other author is unknown, the publishing house is going to come from the position of, we're going to invest this much in the book. We need to have this much back. So if we put unknown author and make his name big, that's not going to sell books because no one knows who this person is. But if he's writing with Stephen King, well, let's put King's name up. We know we're going to get a guaranteed amount of sales, and then the unknown author will start getting traction. Take care, David. Heading to Bojangles for lunch. Have a great time at Bojangles. Yeah. Douglas and Lincoln. Yes. I think that's also the name. Yeah. Ethical publishing. There's a lot about publishing that's not ethical. Obviously, which is the rise of indie publishing has become so prominent these days, right? Because publishers would give royalties of what is it, 5%, 10%, and they're making, incredible amounts of money off the authors. And without the authors, you don't have a publishing company. So it wasn't a fair agreement, and it still isn't a fair agreement. So unethical is kind of, a fair assessment of the publishing company. It's only recently that the authors have begun speaking up, because they have now leverage in terms of, I can go independent and publish on my own. I don't have to go to an established publishing house or one of the big 5. I can publish on my own and get more in royalties than you can ever offer me. So now the publishing companies or corporations are starting to listen. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, as a reader, if you've read an author and the author has written a lot of books, and then the story starts to change, you start realizing, okay, maybe someone else is writing it. There was a big deal a few years ago about ghostwriting, because a lot of authors were just putting their names on the books, but other people were writing the books, and it was becoming a real issue amongst readers, because it's like, you didn't write this book, someone else wrote this book. And what the authors were doing, because these were prominent authors, they were hiring several ghostwriters at once to write different stories for them, and then they would release the books. And they give a percentage to the ghostwriter, obviously, but then they keep the lion's share of the profits, and it's their name. Their books are getting out there, but it's not really their books anymore. It's the ghostwriters' books. So yeah. Oh, your captions keep saying polishing house. No, it's publishing house. Hopefully that helps. Publishing. Yeah. Right. And even now, if you go the traditional route or route, depending on where you're from, take care. Who's that? Who's leaving? Laura? Bye, Laura. Thank you so much for visiting and being here with us today. And we're out soon, so we got about 5 minutes. What time is it? Yeah, we got about 4 or 5 minutes, so we're out soon. If you go the traditional route now, not back when I started about 10 years ago, but now, a traditional publishing house will not do much marketing for you if you're an unknown author. They expect you to do your own marketing, your own selling. So going the traditional route now is just a matter of cachet. It's just so you can say, I was traditionally published. But it doesn't give you many benefits, and you have to do your own marketing. And they expect you to have a huge following on social media. They expect you to do your own advertising because they're not going to have a large advertising budget for an unknown author. So, and they're going to pay you really, really low royalties on something that you're doing most of the work for. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It really doesn't. And conversely, publishing companies can ruin an author's life. Robert Aspirin is a great. Yes, I've heard of the story, and it's true. So it's buyer beware kind of thing. You want to be a writer? Awesome. A lot of the great writers in history were self-published. If you look into the history, many writers were self-published because they didn't want to go to a traditional route. They wanted to do their own, or they didn't have a choice and they had to do it on their own. So that's the way it is, So you want to really be careful if you're going to be an author in this environment. I think I did pretty well choosing to go independent, but everyone's mileage varies, right? So you have to that's a choice you have to make for yourself. No one can make that choice for you. And that's just the way it is. Any other questions? Because we're going to close, and we have to close on time because we've got to get to a meeting later on, and I don't want to shortchange the mob, but we really can't go too over today. The time did go great today because you guys make this show fantastic. I just want to say that. I just want to put that out there so you guys understand how amazing you guys make the show. It's incredible. And I am really looking forward to our Peaches Con one day where we can just all hang out, sit down, and talk books and stories and characters and spoilers and snippets and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. And, of course, Death Wish. We got to have Death Wish. And a Peaches on site, which would be awesome. Maybe our next dog should be a Peaches. Yeah, bigger place. We need a bigger place. Peaches. The breed of Peaches, the Cane Corsos, are big dogs. So, yeah. Bye, Marie. Have a great rest of your weekend. All right, guys, we're going to close it up because I want to close it up on time. I want to get into the habit of closing it on time. Yes, big dogs are awesome dogs. I personally, I'm not a fan of little yappy dogs. I can't do it. Sorry. I'm not a fan of little dogs, and I love dogs. But I'm not a fan of little dogs. For me, a dog should be large enough to present a threat to someone who's coming at you. That could just be me, my personal bent, right? But Cane Corso's Mastiffs are just the right size for me. So, yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you, all the people who submitted questions. Thank you again for the questions. They always add this great kind of dimension to the show. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to be here. You guys are awesome. And, we can't do this without you guys being here and sharing with us and hanging out and talking. And, yeah, you can bring your leash trained cat, Gracie. She has no magic, but she's magical in her own way, I'm sure. And, guys, have a great weekend. I think I'm going to have a very snowy, sloppy, slushy weekend. But, that's just March, I think, has switched places with February this year. So we'll see. But guys, great show today. I had so much fun today, and we'll be back on the 24th of March in 2 weeks, but it'll feel like a week or a few days. Even recently, like Dolly was like, okay, we have MoB this week. I was like, no, we have MoB next week. That was last week on Friday. It's like, okay, are you ready for MoB? I'm like, yeah, next week. It's like, no, it's this week. No, it's next week. So have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here. And above everything, guys, be uncommon.